My guest will be Chris Doheny, who was the lead singer, songwriter and guitarist in the popular band Geisha, who charted in the 80s in Australia. Chris will talk about their huge success and will also talk about and play his then new single, Birthday. We are also joined by Michael Matthews, Australia's top music publicist. I have two special guests in the studio, but before I bring them, I'm going to play Chris Doheny's song. Now, Chris is here with Michael Matthews, and this is, without doubt, my favourite locally written song in years. It's called Can You Hear the Rain?
Doheny and Michael Matthews. Welcome once again, gentlemen.
Hey Mark, how you going?
Good, great to have you guys in. See you. Hello, Michael. Now, what a great song. So,
Thanks, mate.
How did it go? Were you happy with its sales?
Well, yeah, the sales have been okay, surprisingly, considering apart from you guys, the lack of commercial airplay, which is not really surprising. But no, the sales went okay. I mean, it certainly paid for itself and enabled me to sort of start production on the album, which is going to be coming out, in the not too distant future after another single or two.
Yeah.
This is what I've been doing, spending most of my time doing the last 6 months this year, is working on the album.
Yeah,
Of course, we got tied up last year, couldn't do much. I think the last time I spoke to you, was it around about the Geisha reunion business?
Correct. Yep, sure was.
And that kind of tied me up for most of the last half of last year.
Yeah.
So I haven't had much time, I didn't have much time in '98 to do the album.
And I believe that show went really well.
Oh, you should have come down. You should have. It was just, Michael was there, it was just a fantastic night. It was packed out and we couldn't get out of the change room, could we, after the show? It was like people just kept milling in.
No, people locked us in. They were so into it, they didn't want us to come back out.
That's right. It was awful. No, it was good. It was great.
That's great. So you're recording a new album?
Oh yeah, the new Chris Doheny album as such.
Yeah. Yep. And how many tracks have you got finished so far?
Well, none of them are finished. They're all sort of in a state of, ongoing recording.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd probably be about 13 tracks on the album at this stage. There may be more, but they're all unfinished, and we're in the process of getting it all sorted out now.
That's great. And well, I hope you've come up with the writing quality of Can You Hear the Rain? Because when I heard that first, I mean, I get a lot of, over the years, I've had a lot of CDs sent to me by people in Australia and overseas and all that, and I listen to some of it and I go, oh my God, and then I put something on like this, I go, wow, that's a really strong song.
Thanks, Mike.
Really great song.
Maybe you could do me a favour, and if I give you a copy of it, send it to George Martin for me.
George who?
So no, seriously, that'd be great. I'd love him to.
Sure, no, I'd be happy to.
George is deaf these days, so you couldn't hear it.
We'll get a very loud copy.
Oh, sorry.
He's not deaf. Just
Actually,
for the record,
my
he's not
favourite
deaf.
song on that EP is "Can You Hear the Rain?" I think is a great track, but is "There's a Place." There's always been a track. In fact, that track there, Chris wrote some years ago, and I said to him, I remember hearing it and said, "Why don't you drag it out?" And he dug it up off an old demo somewhere and re-recorded it, and it's still my favourite track on that EP.
There's a Place. Yeah.
Well, we might get a chance to play that then. So when do you think the new CD will be in the shops?
I would say we'll definitely have a new single out within 2 months, and then hopefully an album to follow it up before Christmas.
Well, you'll have to get get you guys onto maybe Matt Orchard, who does a great Australian show.
Mate, I'm not coming in unless you're here.
I'm only here after July 10th, so it won't be all that often, I'm afraid.
We'll do one from home.
Okay. Well, let's have a listen to something from the past now. You mentioned about the reunion with Geisha, and this track is off your CD, The Very Best Of, available still on EMI?
Oh yeah, it's still out there. I think it's in its third or fourth pressing now. It's been selling really well.
Okay, and it's got 11 tracks on it. And what can you tell us about the song we're going to play called Never Tell You Why?
Never Tell You Why. It was really a swan song for the band. It was the last single we ever released. And it's kind of bringing back sad memories, if anything else. But I think it's a great tune. Unfortunately, at the time that it was released, it was in the final throes of the band, so it didn't get much radio airplay. I have really vivid memories of going on what was, in essence, a ragged, tortured end to Countdown on television, a show called The Factory. If you remember The Factory, it was kind of like a phoenix risen out of the ashes of Countdown, and it had people like Tanya Lacey and Andrew Dado and Alex Paps who were hosting the show. And I have vivid memories of going in, because obviously at that stage we couldn't get a budget for a video for the clip, going in and doing a live version of Never Tell You Why, and we bought the clip off the ABC to be our promotional clip. So those are the memories that Never Tell You Why brings back from about 1988, I think, early 1988.
All right, let's have a listen to Never Tell You Why.
If I'll ever be straight again. So much, so little time tells me to watch for fall ahead, yeah. They'll never tell you why. They'll never tell you why. So many faces and places that just keep on passing by. They all start to look more familiar as the time goes by. They'll never tell you why.
Yeah, Geisha. So, Chris, there was a pretty popular band, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was it was a great time back in the 80s. We all talk about it with fondness now, although we probably hated each other's guts at the time. But I distinctly remember an episode where it was really like Beatlemania. It was we had to do this record signing appearance. The record had just been released. Fool's Way was in the charts and Rainy Day was in the chart at the same time on the national chart. And we made this appearance in Collins Street, just outside of Allen's, where Allen's used to be. Yeah. And they'd actually closed up the street. And we were at the manager's office, we thought, we'll get a little open top limo. Or not an open top limo, it was a closed top limo to roll up, do the big thing. And we rocked down there and there was like 2,000 kids. It was like fantastic, and we rocked up and signed a few records, and then it got silly, like kids jumping on the car, and it was really scary.
And then we found out that the Bananas and Pyjamas were actually
just
making
up the road.
appearances next door, and
exactly.
actually there for them.
and they got up and played with you. Is that
That's
right?
right.
They did the dancing.
I showed him my banana in his pyjama. Very nice. Well, that was later. Sorry. That was terrific.
So now getting back to this EP, Can You Hear the Rain, which we heard before, and it's interesting that a twice guest on this show was Richard Lush, who I keep in contact with, and he's actually just changed jobs. He's not with the older Song Zoo studios anymore.
Has he moved? I haven't spoken to him in a few months. He's moved?
He's moved, and I'm not sure the name of the recording
company. Get our multi-tracks back now, Michael.
But of course, the interesting thing is that Richard was the tape operator for the Beatles. He started mixing Michelle, and then he went right through to the end. So you were in good company there.
Yeah, and he's a great guy too.
Seeing he produced the song.
Well, no, he mixed it for us.
Mixed it, okay.
And helped us re-sort out a few things when we went back to do this mix. And what a pair of ears he's got. He just hones in on stuff that you just wouldn't hear. He's got an incredible set of ears.
He had a good teacher in George Martin, though, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, fancy that. Fancy doing your apprenticeship as such with someone like that at that time in the musical history.
Yeah, I remember Darryl Braithwaite saying Richard Lush produced How's That and a lot of the Sherbet stuff.
It was one of his first big hits here.
And Darryl was sort of saying, speaking to Richard, and people say to him, "What else have you done?" "Oh, yeah, I've also worked with the Beatles." And I go, "What?" Now, Chris, people know you as the lead singer of Geisha, and you're here to talk about your new single, Birthday, and we'll talk about your upcoming capers, but just a little bit of history. Now, if I got this right, you guys had 9 singles between 1985 and 1987, 2 albums, one self-titled, another one called Midnight to Dawn, and Part-Time Love Affair hit our national charts in 86, and Geisha was really a major act to emerge from Australia during the 1980s. So what else can you tell us about the band?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's an interesting story. We sort of got discovered by the record label in 1984 after we'd been playing around with a few different lineups and a bunch of songs that I'd written for about a year before that. And in fact, Michael here was the man that found us. He received a blank tape back in 84 and he thought that was hilarious, so hilarious that he got on a plane, came down to Melbourne to the old Grain Store Tavern in King Street with a few lackeys of his that got to be friends of mine as well. We won't mention their names though. I think they're in jail now, aren't they? and proceeded to sort of woo the band, and things went from there. So we went up to Sydney and recorded our first album with some amazing people. Peter Dawkins, of course, you're well aware of Peter's work as a producer. And not only that, we had a double banger. We had Richard Lush as engineer. I mean, what a team.
Have a guess who I was talking to today?
Richard Lush.
Richard Lush.
How is the old bugger?
To you guys
is he all right?
Yeah,
is he good?
It's going really well.
Fantastic. Say hello next time you speak to him. I haven't seen him for a few years now.
Oh, okay.
So we made that album and we had a couple of hits off that. And we went back into the studio with a guy named David Courtney, who is who's responsible for some Leo Sayer productions through the 70s and early 80s, and he produced our second album in 1987 called Midnight to Dawn. And then the band went through a few lineup changes and took a sort of went off the road and, for all intents and purposes, disbanded at the end of 1988. And then nothing really happened for about 10 years. And then in 1997, I was approached by EMI to put out a compilation album, and it was a good opportunity because that first album was only on vinyl. Nothing on it had ever been released on CD, so it was a good opportunity to have some songs that were never put on CD, finally on CD, which we did. We released an album called The Very Best of Geisha. And we did a show at the Mercury Lounge in 1998 to sort of promote it, to launch it, and I brought the original 1985 lineup to do that, and amazingly it sold out in a day. It was a huge success. Yeah, it was great. That's good, unbelievable. And it sort of made me start thinking, you know what's going on here. That's when that whole 80s resurgence started really sort of kicking in the late 90s. And then in the early 2000s, I was contacted by an American label about releasing the Geisha catalogue on an American label over there, which we did. And through that process, we actually started releasing some other Geisha product, like No Second Prize, which you played earlier, was in fact, that whole album was really in the demo stages in 1988 to be released with the final lineup, which was the final lineup of Geisha. Included Tom Hosey on drums, Rob Dean on guitar, and Laurie Maddie, who's an AFI winner for his music work these days. And so the guy from the States suggested that I dust off the tapes, remaster them, and release it as the Lost Album, which we did. And that's what we got there. So, and then more recently, about a year ago, I was approached by an Australian label called Diamond Dog Records to do the same thing here, and also to think about releasing completely new material.
And that leads us to your new song.
Yes, indeed.
Now, I have to ask you this because I'm such a Beatle freak. You've written this song, you wrote it,
Yep.
and you called it Birthday. So I'm sure you're well aware, being a Beatle fan yourself, that there's a song called Birthday on the Double White album.
There is.
So how do you deal with that as a songwriter, knowing that you've come up with a name that's already been used? Because it obviously doesn't bother you, but I'm just wondering how you deal with it.
I think, who is it? Who's that English interviewer? Very famous guy. You know, does
Michael
all the
Parkinson.
I think he asked John Lennon the same thing. He said, "Do you know there's another song called Birthday out? It's Happy Birthday to You, Happy Birthday."
It was not exactly the same title, but anyway.
No, actually, you know what? Interesting thing is, I am a massive Beatle fan, and there's a lot of song titles over the years that I've probably subconsciously borrowed, and it's not until they've been brought to my attention later. As you'll hear, it's nothing like the Beatles' Birthday.
Yeah.
And the song content lyrically is nothing like Birthday.
No.
If you have a look at No Second Prize, there's a track called Mother on it.
Yes, I noticed that too. Yes, yes, there is a bit of influence.
Yeah,
isn't there?
I've absolutely. You know, I'm unashamedly well and truly influenced by the Beatles, and you'll certainly hear it if you have a listen to most of my music.
Yes, and a case in point was I still reckon one of the best songs that I've heard by an Australian in many, many years was Can You Hear the Rain? And I can certainly hear a bit of Paul's bass playing in there and the Beatle influence. Maybe we can
Thanks,
play that a
Mark.
bit later.
Thank you very much. That'd be great.
No, I really think it's just a fantastic song.
Thanks so much.
Produced by Richard Lush or
Yep,
recorded by
absolutely.
Richard. So this song Birthday, can you tell us about how you went about why you wrote it? Like what inspired you?
It was actually written quite a long time ago with a writing partner that I had in the about 1993-94. We had a band together called Dragonfly, and that's Craig Harneth, who was the bass player from Kids in the Kitchen, and the producer of a lot, the Castle soundtrack and all the DJing stuff. And he's a great friend of mine, and we wrote probably close on 24 songs in that period, and a lot of which didn't get used by our band at the time, Dragonfly. And this in fact was one of them, and it was one of the two first songs we ever wrote together. The other being our first single that we released with Dragonfly, River of Love. But this one, I always loved it, but it just wasn't a Dragonfly song, and for years and years it's been sitting there, and I've been wanting to do something with it. And when Geisha's new guitarist joined up about a year ago, a guy named Joe Matera, I brought it out and I said, "What do you think of this?" And he said, "I really like it." He said, "Well, I know this guy in the States, a very famous producer named Tom Werman. He's famous for his work on Cheap Trick and some of the more hard rock bands of the late 80s and mid-90s, like Motley Crue and various other acts similar to that. Poison, I think, is one of the other acts he did, didn't he?
Oh, he did Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister,
He did all that heavy rock garbage
all that,
from
yeah.
the 80s, but the big haired bands,
But the one that really got me was the Cheap Trick, because once again, a massive fan of Cheap Trick, as they are of the Beatles,
And they were produced by George Martin, some of the
exactly,
tracks as well.
that's right. Their third or fourth album after they stopped working with Tom Werman. So Joe sent the demo of Birthday over to Tom, and Tom immediately loved it. He said, "Look, I can really see this, doing something, and I'd love to produce it." So that's how that came about. Yeah.
All right, well, why don't we have a listen to this? This is the single, and there's 3 tracks on here. There's Birthday Acoustic, and there's also the promotional video.
Which we might not be able to play tonight.
No, mightn't be able to hear that very well, but let's have a listen to Birthday.
You're walking into walls again. You're going back to where I found you. You never seem to need a friend. So take a look inside this box. It's yours to open any time at all. You'll be surprised at what you'll find. If today was Now's the time to pay the price. Take a look inside your house. You might even find a tiny piece of me. It could surprise you how it feels. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? If today was your birthday and all your friends were here, open your eyes, change the world, turn on the great times. No magic words can replace the feeling that something's not when everyone's gone home tonight and you're all alone with nothing but your dreams. Remember, you can count on me. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? Your birthday, and all your friends were here. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but
Chris Doheny and Michael Matthews are here. Chris, you're here with your terrific new single, Birthday. So, Michael, what would you like to say about Birthday?
Birthday is a song I heard many years ago as a demo when it was first written, and I thought, well, the demo was quite different from the way it's come out. There wasn't the heavy guitars and so forth. It was much more of an acoustic rendition of it, but I always loved the song. I always thought it was special, and it was just one of those songs that didn't fit the band at the time. Dragonfly were quite a in-your-face rock and roll band. This song was written by the guys around that time, and it's just been sitting around, as Chris said. So it was one of the songs I mentioned that he should pull out. And actually, there's so many songs that are still sitting around that have yet to be recorded. But in the demo stages, I mean, they were just terrific. And that's when you can tell whether a song is going to work or not work, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was pretty happy with the end result of it, and getting hold of Tom Werman to produce it, I thought was a coup. You know, I mean, he basically put his hand up and came out of retirement. I think he's running a bed and breakfast these days in America.
That's exactly right, mate.
And since then, I mean, Tom's played it to many people, and there's a lot of quotes that have come back from people like, like the Cars, for example. And
Elliot Easton from the Cars, he gave us a terrific quote.
Really? That's good.
So it's been really good.
All right, well, how about we have a listen to the acoustic version? Now, that's sort of the in thing to do these days. Well, it started quite a while ago, didn't it?
Hang on, I'll just get my guitar, mate.
Yeah, okay.
You got the mic set up?
Yeah, all right, but you're all mic'd up. Yeah,
Well,
we had
pick
Bell
out of my
Ross
pocket.
go live in the station, so you got...
There's my guitar pick. All right, I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go? All right,
Ready?
you ready? I think we've got it all
Test
ready to
1,
go.
2.
All right, well, here we go, Chris. Get ready. Okay.
Into walls again. You're going back to where I found you. You never seem to need a friend. So take a look inside this box. It's yours to open any time at all. You'll be surprised at what you'll find. your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? If today was your birthday and all your friends were here, you played so many party games, they're all a blur of happy days gone by. Now's the time to pay the price. Take a look inside your house. You might even find a tiny piece of me. It could surprise you how it feels. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? If today was your birthday and all your friends were here, open your eyes, change the world, turn around 3 times. No magic words can replace the feeling that something's not there. When everyone's gone home tonight and you're all alone with nothing but your dreams, remember you can count on me. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? Today was your birthday and all your friends were here. If today was your birthday, would you be anywhere else but here? If today was your birthday and all your friends were here. If today was your birthday, if today was your birthday and all your friends were here.
Yeah, it's very catchy, Chris, so
Thanks,
well
Mark.
done, well
Thank
done
you
on
very
that.
much.
I'm sure that's going to catch on and get lots of airplay.
Oh, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
You've got Australia's best PR man on the job there with Michael
Absolutely.
Matthews, so we expect
And
to hear
Michael
us,
too.
you know. Ooh,
Oh,
that would have hurt.
You won't hear of it ever again.
that's it.
Thanks everyone for coming in. Chris Doheny had to race out to rehearsals, so thanks to Chris and Michael Matthews. Thank you very much for coming
My
in
pleasure,
again.
mate.